Hey everybody, here with Amaury Sechet at eCash conference. So I will ask some short questions to him because we're busy. The workshops will start in a moment. So the first question is Amaury, what excites you about eCash and about eCash, the new releases and what's upcoming and what already came up?
Yeah, so what excites me about eCash, pretty much the same thing as when I started BCH. What I think is important in crypto, and maybe we forgot that a bit more recently in the space, but what is important to me is digital cash. So when you think about the digital space, every time you make a transaction, you need to go through a third party, be it like Visa or MasterCard or PayPal or your bank with a wire transfer or whatever it is. There is always some third party, and usually several of them, that process the payments. And this is a big problem for our freedom in general, because spending our money now is subject to third party being willing to process it for us. And we don't have that problem in the physical world, meat space, like we say, because we have cash, right? And when you pay cash at a shop or anywhere, the transaction is just like you and the person you're transacting with. And so as a result, other tools, they cannot really be too picky about what they're doing, because there is cash, and if credit cards don't want to process the payment, then you can still pay by cash and it's not a big deal. But we don't have that option online, and so as more and more stuff move online, and also as less and less people use cash in the real world, or I guess online is real, but in the mid space, it's becoming more and more of a problem for freedom, because think about it, if you are excluded from using money, you cannot pay food, you cannot pay rent, right? You are excluded from society and immediately destitute, no matter how rich you are before. So that's quite important, and that's coming. I think people are not paying enough attention to that, and crypto is really the lifeboat against that whole situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then connected to this is of course a question. I mean, what you're basically referring to is CBDC. In a sense, is basically the competition to eCash, Bitcoin, whatever. So the question is then, of course, how do we outrun them, right? How do we get the what can we do to be better than them? How we can get there to basically have the applications ready and be the preferred cash over CBDC cash.
So I don't know if it's avoidable really that CBDC is released at that point. I think for most people, they don't quite understand those problems, because they just use money, but they have never really thought about how it works and what are the different players involved and all of that. So I think before we get any kind of mass adoption, it's gonna have to hurt a bit, right? It's always how it is, because when it starts hurting, people are gonna ask the question I cannot use my money the way I want anymore. Maybe there is something else out there. Otherwise, before that, people don't have that much reason except speculation or stuff like that, which we see a lot, but that's not where the biggest value is, I think. So we're gonna see CBDC release, but what's important is that we have tools for people who understand already that's a problem that they can that those people can use. And also more normal people, they're gonna be okay, those people, they don't have that problem, right? So what are they using? Oh, they're using eCash, Monero, Bitcoin, whatever, right? Interestingly, the biggest project of CBDC right now is the one from the US, and they released a technical paper called Project Hamilton, which describe the way they want to do it technically. And it's remarkably similar to what we are doing with eCash to scale Bitcoin. The solutions are almost the same. There are details here and there that change, right? But the principle of how they take Bitcoin and get it to scale, to possibly deploy it at the country scale, is exactly the same techniques that we're reusing. So maybe that brings us to eCash. What we're building with that? Well, we're building a scalable version of Bitcoin. So eCash is a fork of Bitcoin. We've changed not that many things, but with the thing that we changed, we made it much more scalable. And also we are deploying Avalanche quite soon, which is a consensus algorithm that allows to get much faster finality. So people can be less worried about reorgs, for instance, or less worried about double spends, you know, before a transaction is mined in the block. So for all the, you know, use case for medium and exchange and stuff like that, the user experience is going to get much better with Avalanche. Really, like, our goal is to nail the cache usage.
Very good.